Welcome to episode 2 of Sefiras Haomer, the Halachos and Minhagim of Sefiras Haomer, taken from the Sefer, which is worth getting, not too expensive, and it has all the halachos. Okay, we're up to chapter 2 that discusses wedding and Sheva Brachos during Sefira. So, as we all know, that all weddings are prohibited during the times of Sefira. Is that correct? No, it's incorrect. There are weddings that are permitted with music and dancing and everything like that during Sefira. What are they? It's the ones that is machzik sase, somebody that remarries his previously divorced wife. Those are allowed because I guess the simcha is not as great as a regular new marriage or even a second marriage. However, we don't see that too often, but that you're allowed to have the middle of Sefira. So Lag BaOmer, technically, we're not supposed to have weddings until the morning, the Simcha. However, we are allowed to have the night, as we know, especially this year falls out. Thursday night, you can't have Friday night. So the first night, you're allowed to have a wedding, even though it's before the start of the 33rd day. So if you have a Lag BaOmer that falls out on Sunday, we cannot, though, go backwards like we can do for a haircut, which we'll discuss later, but you have to wait till either Motzei Shabbos or Sunday night. Now, if you're holding the first half of Sefira, or the second half actually, that means is that after Lag BaOmer, you're not allowed to have music or anything like that. So you're making a wedding on Lag BaOmer. Really, the chuppah should be before Shkia, and then it's not a problem to have the dancing and the hasuda and everything else following. But because it finishes your heter of Sefiras Haomer, then you have to try to get it before Shkia. If it's delayed, obviously you don't cancel a chasana. It's allowed, not obvious, but that's the halacha is with the eved, you're allowed to have that after Shkia as well with the rest of the wedding as usual. And of course, music and dancing at a wedding is allowed, and any friends or family that want to dance and hear music and enjoy it are allowed to, even though that it would not be their minig. Even if it's not their minig. Furthermore, if somebody is not so observant and makes a wedding, and it's a family or friend, somebody you know, co-worker, makes a wedding, where Moshe says you're allowed to go, you're allowed to enjoy the wedding, even if everybody holds the Sefira, middle of Sefira, and they're not allowed to make the wedding, we are allowed to go and partake in the wedding 100%. In order to go to a wedding, the bride and groom can take a haircut and shave for the occasion. However, the guests cannot. But Moshe Feinstein has a tshuva that says that if the guy looks so bad and it's going to stop him from going for the wedding, he's allowed to. And his tshuva says is that since the Chazal say you don't punish somebody that is koifetz and does make a wedding, by you not going, that's punishing. So you're allowed to do that as well. He says, of course, better schedule that year that you should hold the other half so you can get closer to the wedding without going against the minhagim asir. Sheva Brachos, even though it's not the wedding, you are allowed to have music only, Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says, if that is the minig of the place. In other words, everybody has music and dancing. We don't see this too often because most people have regular Sheva Brachos without music. But if it's a place where you always have, everybody has, then you're allowed to, it's like part of the chasana, you're allowed to have music and dancing. So So, and as far as shaving, obviously we can't, but the chassan is allowed to shave if his Sheva Brachos falls out later. He didn't do it before. He's allowed to, but nobody else. Thank you very much for listening. We will continue at tomorrow or a later date.